Welcome to fourth grade English Language Arts. I'm Mrs. Gooch of Mark Twain Elementary. Last time we were reading Robert's Rules, and we were using this text to practice finding new words and determine the meaning of these new words by doing some thinking about what the words might mean. Some of the vocabulary strategies that we used were looking for context clues and word parts. You remember what context clues are? Looking for language in the text that tells us what the word means. Last time we were reading Robert's Rules, the main character, Robert, was on his way to camp. Today, we will focus on learning about Robert. What kind of a person is he? What does he want? How is he feeling? What is he thinking? These are what we call characteristics. Let's read the learning target together. Ready? Begin. I will use text evidence to determine the characteristics of a character in a story. A character is who is in the story. The characteristics of a character mean things like the character's personality. What are they like? What do they think? What do they feel? What do they want? Evidence is information that supports details like characteristics of a character. What evidence in the text tells us things about the people in the story? When we say text, we mean the words. That's where we find the evidence. Let's look at this example. Nadia smiled and hugged her little sister. "Don't worry," she said. "I'll help you with your homework." Nadia is the character in this sentence here. And what kind of a person do you think Nadia is? I underlined some evidence. I see that Nadia is smiling and hugging her little sister and saying things like, "I'll help you with your homework." These are pieces of text evidence that give us clues about what kind of person Nadia is. Let's read the success criteria together. Ready? Begin. I can describe a character's personality and motivation using text evidence. We are telling all about or describing information about the people in the story. Their personality is what kind of person are they? Their motivation is what do they want? Information about this is going to be in the text evidence. Remember our example about Nadia helping her sister with her homework and giving her sister a hug? What kind of person is Nadia? Do you think she's helpful, caring, mean, brave? Let's see, is she helpful? Remember, it said, "I'll help you with your homework." So she is helpful. What about caring? The evidence says she was smiling and hugging her little sister, so she must care about her. What about mean? Hugging and smiling and helping with homework are not things a mean person does. So she is not mean. Brave? Nothing scary was happening. So we used evidence to decide what kind of character Nadia is. What does Nadia want? What did she say she wanted to do? I'll help you with your homework. She wants to help her sister. She wants to help her sister. Let's make sure we have everything we need. You will need paper and something to write with. and our tool that we were making last time. If you have not had a chance to make this tool, go ahead and just grab a fresh sheet of paper. Open up your tool and flip it over to the other side. Up here at the top is where we will record information about Robert, his characteristics. Let's write characteristics at the top. Character is a word that starts with a CH that makes a K sound. Character. Characteristics also has the word character in it. And then we add the suffix istics. Did you notice that the word act is hidden inside the word character? Part of a person's character is how they act. Let's put a line. And what we'll do is we'll put Robert's name up here. Robert is the main character, or the person the story is about. So we'll be focusing on him. There will be other characters we can add on here as we learn about them. So now we want to find evidence to find out what Robert's personality is like, what are his characteristics, and what is it he wants. We'll do some thinking about what is he thinking and how is he feeling. And remember, we'll still be looking for those new words. Robert and his mom unpacked Robert's gear. "I see your group, the Badgers, over there," said his mom. "Your counselor's name is Bruin." "That's a weird name," said Robert. "Bruin means bear. It's his camp name." "Do I have to have a weird camp name too? Is that a camp rule?" asked Robert. "The rule is that you can have one if you want one," said his mother. "Now, follow Bruin. Go, go, go." She gave Robert a hug and a gentle nudge in the right direction. Robert grabbed his gear and followed Bruin to the campsite. Have you heard this word, nudge, before? What might nudge mean? Let's add that word to our tool and do some thinking about it. Here's the side where we collected words like gazed and endless. Let's add the word nudge. When we write words on our tool, we're very careful to spell them the same way they are spelled in the text. Let's see, are there any word parts that help us? I don't think so. We will have to use context clues. Let's see what the rest of the text said in that sentence. It says here, she gave Robert a hug and a gentle nudge in the right direction. Well, she's giving him a hug, and it says a nudge in the right direction. A direction is where you are going. So maybe she tells him, go, go, go. So maybe she wants him to go over to where the counselor is. Maybe she's giving him a gentle push towards the counselor. This is on page 4. And then over here, let's write our thinking. Do you have any other ideas about what nudge might mean? There were about 10 tents and at least 40 boys. Robert didn't know what to do or where to go. He was afraid to ask the bear what to do. Then he noticed a big sign in the middle of the campsite. It said, "Campsite Rules." Do you know why it says he was afraid to ask the bear in quotes? Where did we get that from? Is there a bear in this story? What does it say here? It said the counselor's name is Bruin, and Bruin means bear. So when it says he is afraid to ask the bear, what does that mean? What is he afraid? He's afraid to ask the counselor what to do. But then he saw a sign said campsite rules. Robert studied the sign carefully. He saw what he should do and what he shouldn't do. He learned all about campsite safety. It made him feel better. Then Robert saw a piece of paper taped to the sign. It was the tent assignments. He was in tent 4. Robert breathed a big sigh of relief. Here are the campsite rules he saw. Campsite rules. 1. Obey counselor at all times. 2. Do not keep food in your tent. 3. Always be with a buddy. 4. No running in the campsite. 5. Put out campfire before going to bed. And here's the piece of paper that says tent assignments. So now he knows where to go. Remember, what we are doing is looking for text evidence or clues in the story that tell us about the character Robert. What are his characteristics? We want to know about his personality, what kind of person he is, and his motivation. What is it he wants? What do we know so far about Robert's personality and how he's feeling and thinking in this situation? How is he feeling? He's not feeling very happy. Maybe he's worried or sad. But why? In the text, it tells us he didn't know what to do or where to go. He was afraid to ask the bear, his counselor, what to do. Earlier in the story, it said he didn't know what to do because he'd never been at camp before. And now he's afraid to ask. So he's feeling worried. Let's put that information into our tool. Let's write that down. You can write worried or sad. What other words can you think of to describe how he feels? He doesn't know what to do. At camp. What else might Robert be thinking or feeling? Write it down on your tool. What does Robert want? It said when he saw the rules, he breathed a big sigh of relief. So he's feeling better. It made him feel better. So one thing that he wanted was to know what to do. He wanted to know the rules. Well, let's start with this sentence with a capital letter. He wants to know the rules at camp. Robert went over to tent 4 and saw 4 cots inside. Was there some sort of rule he should follow to pick a cot? Suddenly, a boy with freckles pushed past him. I want that one over there. I call this one, shouted a tall boy. This one's mine, said a kid in a red cap. Robert sat on the edge of his cot. He looked at the floor of the tent with a sad expression. There wasn't any rule after all. So, do we have more evidence that Robert is worried about not knowing what to do and that he wants to know the rules? It says he has a sad expression, so he is still feeling sad or maybe worried. And then it explains why. There wasn't any rule after all. He doesn't know how he is supposed to choose which bed. Sorry, said the boy with the freckles. My name is Spotty. Do you want to change with me? No, said Robert. This one is okay. We have another character, Spotty. What do we know about what kind of person Spotty is already by looking at this picture and seeing that he said, sorry, my name is Spotty. Do you want to change with me? How would you describe someone who does those things? Let's leave a little extra room underneath Robert's name since he is the main character and we might get more information. Make a few lines down and let's write Spotty. We see he is caring, helpful. He wants to help Robert. Did we meet our learning target? Did we use text evidence to determine the characteristics of a character in the story? And did we think about that character's personality or what kind of person they are and motivation, what they want? Thinking about these details helps us understand what is happening in the story and why. This makes reading more fun. Next time, we will read more of Robert's rules and continue to collect evidence on our tool. Doing this will help us understand what is happening in the story and make the story more interesting. Learning these skills helps us to keep reading and find books that we love every day. Welcome to 4th grade mathematics. I am Mrs. Gooch of Mark Twain Elementary. Last time, we used a place value chart to determine the value of each digit in a big multi-digit number. We looked at the ones, tens, hundreds, and thousands and wrote the numbers in expanded form. Today, we will use our skill of understanding the value of a number to compare it with another number. Let's have a look at our learning target and success criteria. Let's read our learning target together. Ready? Begin. I will use place value to compare numbers. Have you heard the word compare before? Have you heard it used? In math, we determine which amount is bigger and which is smaller. On this place value chart, there are two different numbers. They are not the same number. One is bigger than the other. How do we know which one is bigger? Do you notice that I have circled this 6 in the thousands place? I wrote 6,000 is more than 2,000 because I was thinking about what we learned last time, how the value of this 6 is 6,000 and the value of this 2 is 2,000. And 6,000s would be more than 2,000. So I use this information to determine that 6,821 is greater or bigger than 2,497. Let's read our success criteria together so that we'll know how to show we can compare numbers. Ready? Begin. I can show which number is greater using less than or greater than symbols. When I say symbols, I mean a little picture that means something. These two symbols mean less than and greater than. Let's look at an example of how we use them. This number 2,497 is less than 6,821. But if we switch them around, now the number on this side is the bigger number. 6,821 is greater than 2,497. If you look at these symbols, you will see that the less than has the point or smaller part facing the smaller number, and the open wide or bigger part is facing the bigger number. Likewise down here, the big open part is next to the big number, and the little point part is next to the little number. You can also think of it like an alligator's mouth, open wide to eat the biggest number. Here, the alligator's mouth is open towards the biggest number. And down here, it is also open towards the biggest number. Let's use what we learned about determining the value of a number using a place value chart and writing it in expanded form to see what is happening when we compare these two numbers. For this part, I want you to do this along with me. So please make sure you have something to write on and something to write with. I'm going to use a marker so you can see it clearly, but you can use whatever you have around. If you've got a piece of paper, go ahead and turn it sideways so that it's going the long way across. We're going to write those two numbers, one of them on this side and one of them on this side, so that we can compare them. Let's get ready to write the first number together. Ready? Here we go. I'm putting a 2, a comma, a 4, a 9, and a 7. What number did I just write? How do you say that number? 2,497. What is the value of each digit in 2,497? We'll use a place value chart. Remember the place value chart? Now each of these digits is in its place value. And we can use this to remember the value of each of these digits. This is going to be very important when we compare it to another number. What is the value of this 2? Remember, anything in the thousands place, any digit there is counting thousands. It's being multiplied by 1,000 because it's counting how many thousands there are. There are 2 thousands. Remember, that's 10 times 10 times 10. 3 zeros because it gets pushed all the way to the thousands. This is how it would look in expanded form. Let's write that down. What about the 4? The 4 is in the hundreds place. So it's being multiplied by 100 because it is counting how many hundreds are in this number. How much is that 4 worth? It's worth 400. Let's write that down. What about the 9? The 9 is in the tens place. So it is being multiplied by 10. It is counting how many tens there are. 9 tens is how much? It's worth 90. Let's add that to our expanded form. And lastly, we're looking at the 7 ones, which is just worth 7. Let's write that down. So why have we written this out in expanded form? Understanding the value of each digit will help us determine just how big this number is. When we do the other number on this side, we can also write it out in expanded form and we will be able to see a comparison between the two. Let's see if we can do this without the place value chart. Get ready to write the other number on this side with me. A 6, a comma, an 8, a 2, and a 1. How do we say this number? 6,821. The way we say the number gives us a clue about writing it in expanded form. 6, how many? Right, 6,000. There's that comma. 8, how many? 800. 20 and 1. So here we see the two numbers written in expanded form. When we are comparing the numbers, remember in our example, we looked at the biggest place value and compared it first. While it is true that this number has 7 ones and this number only has 1 1, this is still the bigger number. Because if we just look at the biggest place value, 2,000 and 6,000, we can see that even with all of this added to 2,000, it will never be as big as 6,000. In fact, it's not even as big as 3,000, is it? It needs more to be 3,000, so it's definitely less than 6,000. So it doesn't matter what is in the other place values if this biggest place value is bigger for this number. This number is the bigger one. Let's write our symbol to show which one is bigger. Notice I wrote my symbol with the little point on the little number side and the big open part next to the large number. And I would read this by saying 2,497 is less than 6,821. Let's take a moment to remember the learning target we are working on. I will use place value to compare numbers. We are trying to figure out which number is bigger and which number is smaller. And we are doing this by looking at the place value of each digit so we understand the value of each digit. And we are looking at the largest place value where the digits are different in order to determine which one is bigger. Our success criteria is asking us to use the less than and greater than symbols to show in a math expression or math inequality which number is small and which number is big. We're going to practice doing this with some different numbers. Get your paper and pencil ready. All right, write another set of numbers with me. Again, your paper is sideways, going the long way across. How do you say this number? 2,378. Over here, let's write the other one. How do you say this number? 6,164. Which of these two numbers is bigger? Sometimes in a math book, you will see a problem where you will see two numbers and you will see a large empty circle like this. The circle needs to be very big so you know this is not a zero. Instead, this is a space where they want you to draw a greater than or less than symbol to show the comparison between these two numbers. What do we look at in order to determine which number is bigger? Do you remember? Which place value do we look at first? Do we look at the ones first? No, we look at the biggest place value first. And these two digits are different. This digit is a 2, and this digit is a 6. What is the value of these? This is 6 what? 6,000. And this is 2,000. Which one is bigger? 6,000 is bigger than 2,000. So this is the number that is bigger. Write the symbol with me. The little pointy part should be facing this way, pointing at the littlest number. And the big open part should be facing the bigger number. Let's try another one. I drew a number and I drew that big empty circle, making it much bigger than the number so I know it's not a 0. How do we say this number? 7,463. On this side, we will write how do we say this number? 7,147. Well, wait a moment. These two numbers in the thousands place are the same number. They are both worth 7,000. That's right. 7,000, 7,000. So now what? We go to the next place value down, the hundreds. Are the hundreds the same digit? They are different digits. This one has 4 hundreds, and this one has 100. No matter how many tens and ones we put with 100, it's still going to be less than 200, which means it's definitely less than 463. This is the bigger number on the left this time. So now how does our symbol go? Now the symbol is a greater than symbol, showing us that this side is larger. Let's read these expressions out loud together to practice how we say these symbols. Ready? Begin. 2,378 is less than 6,164. 7,463 is greater than 7,147. Were you able to complete the success criteria? Can you use the less than and greater than symbols to show somebody which number is bigger and which one is smaller? Do you know how to read these symbols when you read them out loud? If so, that means you have met our learning target. You will be able to use place value to compare numbers and show people which number is bigger and which number is smaller using symbols. Next time, we will use our skills with understanding the value of digits to learn some tricks for multiplying. Until next time, look for the math in everyday life.
Hola y bienvenidos a Matemáticas de cuarto grado en español. Yo soy su maestra, señora Saldana. ¿Empezaremos la lección de hoy? Sí. Antes de empezar, los materiales que van a necesitar hoy son un lápiz y un papel. Si tienen su papel de la lección anterior, pueden usar el otro lado. Si no, agarran otro papel, uno nuevo. Pueden ser una hoja blanca o una hoja que tiene líneas, como de un cuaderno. Cualquiera de los dos está bien. Pero si necesitan un lápiz o lapicero y algo para escribir, un papel. ¿Están listos? Cuando están listos pueden decir estoy listo en voz alta o en voz baja o a tu hermano, tu hermana, mascota, quien sea. Pero tienen que decir listos. ¿Están listos? Perfecto, seguimos. El tema que vamos a cubrir en esta lección de hoy es sobre comparando números usando símbolos. Cuando ves la palabra símbolo o escuchas que yo diga la palabra símbolo, haga un símbolo con tus manos. Los símbolos que vamos a usar hoy son más que, menos que, igual que. So, cuando ves la palabra o escuchas la palabra símbolo, haga un símbolo con tus dedos. Símbolo. Practicamos. Símbolo. 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 Buen trabajo. Seguimos. La meta de aprendizaje de hoy. Recuérdense que la meta de aprendizaje es lo que quieres lograr aprender al final o después de la lección de hoy. Lee la meta de aprendizaje de hoy conmigo. Yo voy a comparar números de 3 dígitos usando símbolos y reconocer su valor posicional. El vocabulario académico de hoy es símbolo y valor posicional. ¿Han escuchado esas palabras en otra clase, otra lección, tal vez otro grado? ¿Sí? Sí. Hablamos sobre el valor posicional en la lección anterior. Hoy vamos a agregar los símbolos. Vamos a usar lo que sabemos del valor posicional para comparar dos números y usar un símbolo para representar cuál es más grande, cuál es más pequeño o son igual. ¿Están listos? Listos. Perfecto, seguimos. Empezando con los símbolos. El primer símbolo que vamos a usar representa más que y se mira así. Lo usas para mostrar que un número es más grande que el otro. Podemos usar lo que sabemos de valor posicional para ayudarnos a comparar dos números usando este símbolo. Por ejemplo, ¿cuál es más grande? ¿675 o 977? ¿Dónde debo poner el número más grande usando este símbolo? ¿En qué lado? ¿Izquierda o derecha? Puede usar la tabla que vimos en la lección anterior para romper el número en sus partes o la forma expandida para comparar los dos números también. Vamos a practicar eso un poquito más tarde. Pero por ahorita, solo para practicar, mira los dos números. ¿Dónde pondría el número más grande? ¿A la izquierda o a la derecha? Dilo en voz alta, en 1, 2, 3. Izquierda. Sí, pondría el número más grande, que en este ejemplo sería 977, a la izquierda. Probablemente han escuchado que el cocodrilo come el número más grande. Entonces la boca tiene que estar comiendo al número más grande. Entonces en este ejemplo pondría el símbolo así y 977 a la izquierda, comiendo. También tenemos el símbolo menos que. So, en este vas a escuchar más que, menos que, y grande y más pequeño. So, aquí lo estás usando para mostrar un número que es más pequeño que el otro. Podemos también usarlo que sabemos de valor posicional para comparar y ayudarnos a comparar los dos números. So, este ejemplo sería, si quiero mostrar cuál es más pequeño, 546 o 786, ¿dónde debo poner el número más pequeño? So, eso es muy importante porque tienes que recordarte que estás buscando el número más pequeño. Aquí el cocodrilo quiere comer el número más pequeño. Entonces, ¿lo pondría dónde? ¿A la izquierda o a la derecha? Diga tu respuesta en voz alta. En 1, 2, 3. Derecha. Sí. So, el cocodrilo quiere comer el número más pequeño, entonces la boca está mirando a la derecha. Entonces el número que quiere comer, el más pequeño, tiene que estar a la derecha también. En este ejemplo sería 546. ¿Sí? Sí. Perfecto. Seguimos. Ahora vamos a practicar. So, vamos a escribir el símbolo que muestra el número más grande entre los dos números. So, aquí es importante recordarse que queremos el número más grande. Más grande. Aquí tengo mi tabla que muestra mis centenas, decenas y unidades. Y aquí tengo mis 3 preguntas. So, si quieres dibujar una tabla en tu papel, puedes hacer eso ahorita. No tiene que ser súper fancy, puede ser algo bien simple y sencillo, pero algo que muestra las partes divididas o la forma expandida. Y al lado vamos a empezar con el número 1. El número 1 tiene 294 y 533. So, voy a tomar el primer número y voy a escribirlo aquí en mi tabla como en forma expandida. Yo sé que 200 tiene que ir aquí, 90 y mis unidades son 4. Y luego voy a escribir mi otro número, 533. So, voy a empezar en las centenas y voy a mirar cuál es más grande, cuál tiene el valor posicional más grande en las centenas. ¿Es 200 o 500? 1, 2, 3. Dilo en voz alta. 500. Sí. So, usando solamente mi tabla y sabiendo lo que sé del valor posicional, yo sé que 533 es el más grande. So, voy a usar mi símbolo de más grande, la boca abriéndose al número más grande. Hacemos lo mismo con número 2. 760. Lo puedo escribir aquí, rompiéndolo en sus partes o forma expandida. 60 y 0. Y mi otro número, 670, 0. Mirando solo mis centenas, veo que este tiene un valor posicional más grande. Entonces, mi símbolo que voy a usar va a ir a este lado, comiendo ese número. Intenta el número 3. Escribiéndolo en tu tabla, escribirías 200 aquí y nada aquí y 199 aquí. Y mirando los dos, comparando solo sus centenas, su valor posicional de estos dos números, sé que 200 tiene el valor posicional más grande. Entonces, dibujo mi símbolo hacia 200. Toma un momento para copiar estas notas en su papel en cuadro número 2. Y si dibujaron una tabla, entonces pueden escribir las notas de la tabla. Si solo tienen los números, entonces pueden copiar los números y sus símbolos. Y pueden decir listos cuando están listos. Les doy 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. ¡Uy! 1. Ok, listos. Seguimos. So aquí tenemos lo mismo, pero leen la pregunta conmigo. Escribe el símbolo que muestra el número más pequeño. Más pequeño. Pequeño. Entre los dos números. So vamos a hacer lo que hicimos con los otros números, pero estamos buscando el número más pequeño. En estos problemas, el cocodrilo quiere comer el número más pequeño, no grande. So empezamos con número 4, usando una tabla. So pueden dibujar una tabla en su cuadro número 3, uno que se mira así como el otro, y lo vamos a usar para 4, 5 y 6 también. So empezamos con número 4. Lo dividimos en sus partes o en forma expandida, sus centenas, decenas y sus unidades para el primer número y para el segundo también, 0 y 9. Y los comparamos. So empezamos con las centenas. Mirando las centenas, tiene el mismo número, tiene el mismo valor posicional. Entonces tengo que ir a mis decenas para buscar. Y veo que hay 20 y 0. Pues recuerdo que la pregunta me quiere que encuentre el más pequeño, no el más grande. Entonces voy a parar aquí y pensando en el valor posicional de 20 y 0, yo sé que 0 tiene menos valor posicional que el 20. Entonces mi cocodrilo quiere comer el número más pequeño. Número 5. 847 y 847. ¿Qué símbolo va a necesitar ese? Más que, menos que, igual que. Pueden decir su respuesta en voz alta en 3, 2, 1. Igual que. Sí, porque tienen el mismo valor posicional, porque son el mismo número, ¿no? Y número 6. 128 y 356. So, voy a escribir los números aquí en mi tabla otra vez, empezando con 128. 128. Y 356. So, recuérdense que quiero el número más pequeño. Y empezando aquí en centenas, miro 300 y 100. Pues, ¿cuál tiene el valor posicional menos que el otro? 3, 2, 1, 100. Sí. Y no tengo que ir a decenas o unidades porque ya tengo mi respuesta aquí. So, mi cocodrilo va mirando este lado. Usando, no ese. Este. So, tome un momento para escribir estas notas en su papel en cuadro número 3. Si dibujaron una tabla como el mío, entonces pueden escribir las notas que tengo yo, pueden escribir los símbolos y las respuestas a las 3 preguntas que tengo aquí en esta página. Pueden decir listos cuando están listos. ¿Sí? 5. Les doy 4, 3, 2, 1. ¡Listos! Perfecto. Vamos a seguir. So, una extensión del día, so, algo que puedes hacer fuera de estos 20 minutos que tienes es usar los símbolos para comparar precios en el supermercado. O si estás en una tienda haciendo compras o haciendo lo que sea y ayudando a, maybe a tu mamá o papá o quien sea. Agarra dos cosas y mira los precios. Y usando los símbolos de hoy, más que, menos que, igual que, compara los precios. Esto es algo que puedes hacer todos los días, cada día, cuando sales, cuando estás aburrido en la casa, lo que sea. Puedes comparar los números usando estos símbolos. Gracias, eso es todo lo que tengo para ustedes hoy. Siguen trabajando muy fuertes. Muchas gracias. Les veo más tarde. Bye.